Hi Cancer. This is your 2017 forecast. It's a busy year with a lot of things happening from month to month. So there will be a list of important dates at the end of this video for you to refer to. The year begins with Mercury still retrograde until the 9th of January. So if you have a sense to which things aren't really moving forward, people are still a bit lethargic, they're still a little bit in holiday mode, don't get concerned about it. Just allow yourself to rest a little bit more if necessary, and to know that by the middle of the month, things should begin to move forward more easily. So this Mercury retrograde for you is happening in this 6th house of work, of health, of service. And it also retrogrades in this house at the very end of this year in December. So this is going to be a really good time at the beginning of the year to be reflecting on your work. How you're using your time. Do you feel as though you're being productive? Do you feel as though you're just running from one thing to another to another? Maybe it's time to really look at your everyday routines and to simplify things, to make things easier, not to have so much complexity. That's what this Mercury retrograde can help you do. It's also a good time to reflect about your physical well-being, your health. With it being Mercury, maybe there's something you could learn about health and healing that could give you a whole lot more energy. You could get a lot more done in your day and feel as though you're much more alive. It's also a good time to think about contribution, helping others in some way. How can you be of help to others? There's a lot to reflect upon in that 6th house. Now the eclipses this year are in February and in August. And the first one is on February 10th. We've got a lunar eclipse happening in your 2nd house, dear Cancers. So 2nd house of money, a lunar eclipse. This could mean you actually get paid for something that you've been working on. There's a culmination. Financially, there could be some changes happening. Eclipses tend to bring changes. So it's an opportunity to fine-tune things. If financially things haven't been going to plan, this would be a wonderful time to really think about your spending habits, your saving habits, how you see money, how you think about money, how you value yourself. It's all about self-value and self-worth. Because when you value yourself, that's when others will value and also pay you for your products and services. And on the 26th of February, we've got a solar eclipse happening up here in your 9th house. Solar eclipse in the 9th, it's a wonderful place for it, joining Neptune there. This is new. You might be going on some travels. You might be going somewhere new that you've never been to before. You might be doing business overseas, working overseas. It's a wonderful time for really expanding your wings in your spiritual growth, opening yourself up to some other ideas, some other perspectives. It's a wonderful time for studying something new, learning something that can take your knowledge to an even higher level. Now between March the 6th and April the 15th, we've got Venus, the planet that rules money and love, going retrograde. It doesn't happen every year, but it is happening this year, going retrograde from your 10th to your 9th house. So Venus is asking you to focus and to think about, especially in the 10th house, is my work enjoyable? Am I waking up feeling excited about what I'm doing, about my career, about where I think it's going? Or is it drudgery? And if it is a drudgery, how can I make it enjoyable? What can I do to make it fun? And then it retrogrades back into your 9th house. Again, pleasure. There could be somebody foreign coming into your life, somebody you've been maybe liaising with online for a while, and suddenly they actually appear in your life, in person. And it could be a romance, but let me just caution you a little that I wouldn't get into something too hot and steamy during the retrograde. I would wait until after the retrograde, after April the 15th, before really pursuing a relationship more seriously. Because chances are, very often, what you see in the person during the retrograde is rather different when Venus goes direct. I would also caution you, if you are going to buy any big ticket luxury items, to make sure you've got good insurance and warranties in case you change your mind when Venus changes direction. Now, between April 9th and May 3rd, we've got another Mercury retrograde happening here in your 11th house, Cancer, and moving into your 10th. So here, this Mercury in the 11th retrograde, good time to really think about your friendships, your social circle. Do you want to change it? Do you want more mentally stimulating people? Do you want to join some new groups that might stimulate you more? And then it retrogrades into your 10th house here. And this is a wonderful time really for some amazing ideas that you might have connected with work, with job, with anything in the world, doing something in the world. You also may be reflecting upon your career and the career direction that you want, and possibly making some changes there, especially as Uranus is still in that 10th house for you. We have got a lunar eclipse on August the 7th, and that lunar eclipse is happening in Aquarius, which is here in your 8th house. So lunar eclipse in this 8th house is shining a light potentially on your partner's finances. Could be some shifting sands there, or also it's shining a light on asking you to go more deeply, to go beneath the surface, maybe to look into psychology, the workings of the mind, to really go to do some research. You might be really prompted to go deeply into some research in a subject area that you find fascinating. And it could bring an inheritance, and it could bring somebody wanting to support you financially. But certainly there's going to be a lot of changes financially this year. And do keep in mind, Cancerians, before you get worried about your security here, that astrology can always be used in an empowering way. That's the advantage of astrology, is you know the cycles that are coming up, and you deal with them in a way that really works with that particular cycle. So this is very much, with the 2nd and 8th house, is going to be about you, your self-esteem and valuing yourself, and seeing that translating then into more of a flow and ease financially. So we've got this solar eclipse happening in your 8th house, as I've mentioned, so time to go deeper and time to be open to being more intimate, allowing your fences and your boundaries down a little bit more. Now, for a lot of this year, we've got Jupiter in your 4th house until October the 10th. So this can bring about moves. Many of you may be moving home. You might even be moving country or city or state. You might be expanding your home, adding to it, renovating to it, upgrading it in some way. You might be adding to your family. Your family could be growing at this point. And then after October the 10th, for the next year after that, it's going to be in your 5th house. And what a wonderful place to have Jupiter. Jupiter in the 5th can bring romance, can bring children, young people into your life. It's a boost of creativity. It's wonderful for self-employment. It's wonderful for growing a business. It's wonderful starting a business. So this is a wonderful placement for Jupiter that you're going to have, Cancerians, from October of 2017 for another year after that. For most of this year, until December the 20th, we've got Saturn in this 6th house of work. So many of you have been changing your work. Many of you have maybe found it difficult in work. You've had to take on added responsibilities possibly. And on the 20th is when it goes into your 7th house of relationships. A 7th house of relationships. Now don't get frightened here going, oh, Saturn in my 7th house, this must be awful. Not at all. It's potentially wonderful because it gives you an opportunity to create very stable relationships, to create a relationship where there's strength, where there's security, a feeling of really knowing that person very deeply and feeling a solidity of the connection between the two of you. It could also bring a relationship with somebody who's a lot older than you or a lot younger than you. There's often quite an age gap. And it can also, of course, bring you nice, solid business relationships. It's not only personal relationships. And as I mentioned, we do have that final Mercury retrograde of the year, and that's between the 3rd and the 22nd in your 6th house of December. So this reflection again of what you started, possibly started something at the beginning of a year, and it comes to a completion, or you redefine it, or something shifts again in your work area at the end of the year, or your health goes up a notch towards the end of the year because of all the learning and studying you've done to get your health and your energy levels in tip-top condition. So there you have your year ahead, lovely Cancerians. I thank you so much for commenting, sharing, subscribing, being with me all during the year. And you might want to consider, as this is holiday time, change of season time, you might want to have a painting designed specially for you according to your astrology. Here's just a few little samples. You can have small ones, you can have bigger ones. And imagine having a painting especially for you that vibrates for you, that's very healing, that's very energizing, that's very inspiring. And that's just something I'm now offering, and as well as, of course, reading your astrology chart or even doing your channeled reading for those of you that are interested. Thank you very much. I do appreciate you. Much love.